First of all, like, just I'm kind of blown away. I just get nervous. My hands are all clammy. Haven't done this for a very long time. I want to just thank you guys so much for inviting us on and to share our experiences, our wisdom. We're not veterinarians. We don't pretend to be. We are just sharing from a pet owner's perspective. We have lots of friends that are vets. We have lots of experience in essential oils with animals. That's really how we got started, right? So
Yeah.
first, I should say I'm Kim. And this is my sister Kelly.
Hey guys.
So that you guys can just discern which one is which. And I guess we'll just get started with a disclaimer first and get that out of the way because that's just something that we have to do in this community. So this is in no way intended to treat, diagnose, or prescribe. It's not in any way intended to take the place of a regular veterinary visits or checkups or take the place of your vet care. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. And these are our views. They're our views and our opinions. They are not expressed by Young Living whatsoever. So if you need professional care, definitely connect with your vet. That being said, we do suggest that you find a vet if you are using oils and you choose to use oils with your animals, that you find a vet that is also versed in Young Living products, versed in oils, versed in Young Living products, because we can't speak knowledgeably about things that we don't know anything about. So if you go to a vet that is 100% allopathic, they're not going to feel comfortable giving you any information, be it positive or negative, on essential oils or on using Young Living products. So they're probably just going to say, like, don't use it because they don't know anything about it. So if you question, like, if you don't know a vet, or if you are looking for somebody, whether they be in your area or maybe on the Young Living online community, we have compiled a list.
At the beginnings of a list.
Yeah.
In a group that's called Animal Oil Club, like AOC. And there's a list started there. A lot of the vets on there do both in-person and telecommunication, Zoom meetings very regularly. So if they're not in your immediate area, don't be afraid to reach out, because a lot of them do teleconference communication and helping with whatever you have. So that is a resource. There are probably dozens of Young Living members that are veterinarians and are able to offer, that expertise. So we say reach out, because we do.
Right. Absolutely. And then if you guys want us to be doing, like, ever since I posted that, I've had a couple different vets that were on there that reached out and said that they would be more than willing to do different videos in that group. So that might be an extension of this also. Okay, on to like stories. Why don't you introduce yourself first, Kelly?
So I'm Kelly, as we've kind of already gotten out of the way. I am a Young Living Platinum. I am a pet lodge owner, a Chesapeake Bay Retriever breeder, owner, handler, and basically a resident dog lady. So I also have horses and cats and have had chickens in the past, but I would say that my niche right now is dogs all the way. Backstory on how I got started with Young Living. I was ordering off of Kim's account for 5 or 6 years. And before,
we didn't know what we were doing.
And she changed her password and locked me out and said, if you want the oils, you have to get a kit. And that's exactly what happened in 2011 is I signed up for my own account. I got my own kit. And as soon as I got that kit, I realized that there were so many oils that I needed that I didn't know I needed. And that's when the research started. And that led me down the rabbit hole of toxins in our homes and how those affect our pets. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't putting poison in my pet that was my fault.
Mhm.
And from that point on, I started the journey of the young living lifestyle because of and specifically for my dogs and cats. I experimented with and I used oils in every facet of our lives, theirs and mine, and it really has just become a way of our life. It's what I normally reach for now. So up until about 5 years ago, using Young Living with my personal animals and in our household was basically the extent of my expertise. And I used a lot of them, and I have like some great stories and lots of good experiences. So that is enough. If that's your story, using them on your personal animals and in and around your own house, that is enough. But last year, a few friends and I opened up what is now Fireside Pet Lodge. It is in southern Minnesota. It's a full service lodging, training, grooming, boarding.
Breeding. He's breed.
We
Not the
breed the
lodge.
lodge, we don't breed at, but we also breed dogs. I'm getting to that too. So it's a full service lodging, training, grooming, everything facility, mostly for dogs and a few cats. We have 85 runs. We can house up to 100 dogs under one roof. In the lodge, we use all Young Living products for cleaning. The Thieves Cleaner, the dish soap, laundry soap. We even use the Dentarome Plus in our groom room. So oils and Young Living products have infiltrated literally every part of the lodge. We're diffusing in the kennel runs, we're diffusing in the lobby, we diffuse in the cat room, office, obviously. So, as I mentioned, my personal dogs are all Chesapeake Bay Retrievers. They are a larger breed, similar to a lab for people that don't really know all of the different breeds that are out there. I personally own, breed, show, train, and run them in AKC conformation, which is dog shows like Westminster. A lot of people watch that on TV. So I do that with my dogs as well as retriever hunt tests. I do all of that as a breeder, owner, handler. I breed, raise, whelp several litters a year, and we actually have one due on Friday. So I'm super excited to get back up to Minnesota and see those little babes as they come into the world. Um, I'm not going to go into like my individual dogs. I have that all listed, but all of this with the lodge and everything that I've done in the last 5 years has really given me a different perspective on the pet world outside of my own personal experience and what kind of problems and things that we see outside of what I might personally experience and just how widespread some of it is and what a normal pet owner does to address or completely ignore some of the things that like we see as problems and that can be addressed from a root cause standpoint. Um, that being said, I'm often not the first person that's just going to throw an oil at it because there is so much that goes into a well behaved, well trained, great animal that you have to look at nutrition, supplementation, exercise, and amount of exercise, the amount of activity they have, proper socialization, training, which is often missed and or not looked at enough,
Right.
reducing toxic load, and then lastly, oils. Oils can be used in all of those areas, but they're not just a throw an oil at it when my dog has blah, 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 XYZ. So again, thank you to Danette. Thanks to Kim for asking me to come on because I know that Danette's the one that asked you
Yeah.
to do this. So thank you to you for asking me to come on and share some of my experiences. But
Here we go.
here we go.
Ah,
So let's hear about Kim's story.
thanks, Kelly. Now you guys know why I asked her and why I wanted her to come on because whereas I am over here and I know a lot, and I usually use, I have one dog and, I have a couple cats, But I would say area of expertise is more in the horses. That's where I utilize it, and larger animals. I mean, I think of equines and bovines like you could, you know, interchange whatever you're using on one to the other. So anyway, I'm just really grateful that she agreed to come on here. So Kim Lott, I have one, two, almost 3 year old, and a wonderful husband who drives truck and is on the road. And so it was really kind of, when Danette asked me to come on, I was kind of questioning like, how am I going to make this work? Because it's kind of a one man band here, right? Like I've got 25 horses and a whole gaggle of chickens. Like there's over 50. I don't even know how many there are anymore, but there's a lot of birds out there. And you know, the cats and all the things, just all the things. And so it was like I said, I'm not a vet. I utilize them on my own. I've been to different classes. I just think my biggest goal and the reason that I um, said yes to this was because one thing that I'm really passionate about is that you guys get really comfortable and confident just using the products with your animals. There's so many lies out there, but you guys, the problem with all of the misinformation, disinformation, the lies, the non-truths, whatever you want to call it, that all the safety goes around. Yes, you have to be cautious when you're using the oils with animals, and we are going to address that tonight. When in doubt, dilute. Like that's the number one thing. When in doubt, dilute, or just don't use it. But there's plenty of products. Like if you've got lavender, frankincense, and copaiba, you can do just about anything that you need to do with your animals, right? Like, and you don't have to be fearful of using them around any of your animals. I'm talking any of them. And just the thing about it is it's just like you're using it with kids or somebody that's brand new or somebody that's sensitive to oils, is that you're going to go slow. You're going to introduce it. You're going to take it away. You're going to watch. You're not just going to like dump a bottle of oregano on the back of a horse and walk away, right? Like that's not something that you're going to do. So there's just so much um, so many lies out there about what the oils do, and the biggest thing that I want to get across to you today is you don't have anything to worry about because you have the best of the best. We have the purest, most authentic oils, and any of the things that are going on out there, any of this disinformation, they're not talking about Young Living products. They've never been talking about Young Living products. So just remember that as we move forward tonight, is that's just the goal, is like using the products. And FYI, we are only talking about Young Living products in this video tonight. We are not endorsing any other products. We are not endorsing any other companies' oils, and we do not use them, and we will not ever use them. So just moving forward, know that. Yeah, so moving on. We all know that, is that it? Did you want me to say something?
I'm just we're checking our notes here to make sure that we're covering everything that we've kind of made note of.
If we could talk for hours on this, like we could go all day long about it, but we have an hour. So we're like, okay, pick this out, pick this out. So
Kim mentioned safety. When in doubt, dilute and go low and slow. These are kind of very similar to very similar to children. Always start with it diluted. Always start with it a little bit at a time. You can always add more, just because you need to do it right now.
You can't take it away.
You can't take it away.
You can't take it away. Nope. You can always put an extra drop on, but you can't ever take it away.
When you're diffusing in your home or a place of business and you have animals there, always give them an out. So don't diffuse in every single room of your time all day long unless you know your animals like it. So when you're starting out, always give them an out, whether it's moving to another room, going outside. If they are in a barn, they can go into the paddock or walk into the barn. Give them a way to get away from the oils if they become uncomfortable, because animals still have a basic animal instinct. And they know if something is bothering them to move away from it.
Mhm.
And they will.
Yeah, well, they will.
So always give them that out.
Or they'll move towards it. And you know what I have noticed is that my animals actually move towards wherever
Almost
I'm
every time.
diffusing. And cats are a little bit more finicky. They'll go away from it. You said that you diffuse in the cat room because they have like just a little tiny room. So what kinds of oils would you diffuse in your cat room? I'm talking about the lodge,
At the lodge.
not like in your big house where you're diffusing with cats. I've literally diffused almost all of the oils with my cats and haven't had a problem. But like what Kelly says, just you always want to give them a place to go and out, a place to get away. But in your sanctuary, or not your sanctuary, in the
In
little
the lodge.
cat room, they can't get away. So
Right.
what oils would you say are kind of anything goes? You can definitely put an oil and you're not going to worry about it with the cat.
So we do it on a very low volume. We use one of the diffusers that's very similar to, let me think what we have right now, that it's got a dial on it. It's got a pump and a dial, the pyramid type diffuser.
Oh yeah.
So we use it on a very low volume, and I do a combination of purification, lavender, and lemongrass, because mostly with the cat room, it's keeping odors down, because we all know that cats kind of have a general cat
Ammonia.
dander odor.
Mhm.
So we want to keep the odors down so that they don't kind of get out into the rest of the lodge, because the cat room is right next to the lobby.
Right.
And that's the combination that we use that works really well. And we just use it on a very low volume and have it turn on and off, on and off, on and off. So the cats aren't getting a constant exposure to oils all day long. And then we have the door open.
Right. One of the things that you had mentioned earlier was you don't just always throw an oil at it, right? Like we are not in the business of covering up a symptom of anything. And a lot of the things that we know in this community is that when you have something going on, it's basically just a sign that there's something deeper going on. And the one thing that we know about disease is that there's only two reasons that any of us have a disease in the body. We either have too much of something or too little of something. So too much would be like environmental toxins, emotional toxins, too much stress, right? Like a bad nutrition, or that'd be too little. So that's the too much of the stuff is all these toxins that we're exposed to on the regular basis. Even if you're eating all organic, you know, your pets, let's say your pets have a completely raw diet of all organic everything, there's still going to be environmental toxins that they're exposed to on the regular basis, just like you and I. So if you're experiencing something with your pet, be it an emotional thing or a physical thing, there's only two reasons. They either have too much of something or not enough of something. So looking at like nutrition first, looking at your food, what are you feeding them? We're not going to go into that. Like that's a whole nother topic. But I just wanted to touch on it because that's something that's a place that you could go privately and with your own pet, with your own animal, whatever it might be, or, you know, just do some research on it, right? So most everything that we're doing can be fixed with our animals when we get our nutrition right and we're getting rid of the environmental toxins. And that's where Thieves Cleaner comes in. That's like the number one product, the top product that I would definitely say that every single person needs, that is for using them with your animals. You can use it on a wound spray. You can use it to clean anything and everything around them. And you know, because I mean, they're on the ground, right? Like they're walking around wherever we're cleaning, and they don't get shoes and socks. I mean, some dogs do, but that's whatever. But so you know, eliminating environmental toxins. This is cleaning supplies, synthetic fragrances. So now, what do we have? We've got cleaning supplies. Thieves Cleaner fixes that. Check. Synthetic fragrances.
Diffuser and oils.
Diffuser and oils
Check.
fixes that. Check, right? Like there's two things that you could just do. And you guys, every single person I think on this call could probably get started with that. right now
Mhm.
if you're not already doing that, right? So Kelly talked about safety. Did you do all of safety, or did you have more on the safety that you wanted to touch on, or do we want to
I
go
mean,
to
we
most
can
asked
we can
questions?
do the water later. So sometimes people ask about offering
Oh,
oils and water because we like to put oils in our water, and lemon or citrus fresh or orange are great options for your pets if you want to do kind of a gentle slow detox. So
mhm,
if you're going to do that, just also offer them plain clear water as well, like a plain, you know, filtered water or whatever, so
yeah,
that they have the option. Because a lot of times animals, if you have oils in there and they choose not to drink that, they will dehydrate themselves
right,
versus drinking the water that they don't want.
right.
So always offer a clean option if you're going to do oils and water for animals.
I have a story about that, and it's actually a really cool story. It was eye-opening to me as well
Mhm.
as everybody that was around. So I was at this horse clinic, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this experiment. I had 2 buckets of water, and I put orange oil, orange vitality, in one of the buckets, and nothing in the other one. Every single one of the horses, every single one went to the orange bucket or to the orange trough rather than the other one. Nobody up there other than me had been around oils ever, and so they were all just like, why would they do that? What? Well, animals know. Animals know. They know what they want, they know what they like, they know what's good for them, they know what's best for them, and they're always going to go for what's best for them. So like orange vitality for the
Mhm.
win on that one. uh what was else was I going to say about that? It'll come back.
It
It'll
will. It
it'll
always
come
does.
back. So on to like the most asked questions and things that we get asked about consistently, uh, most regularly, is skin issues. Right? Is that with you too? I mean, talking about horses, talking about dogs and cats. Not so much chickens. Chickens,
No. Nope.
but so that's like the biggest thing. And then so that goes back to the diet, everything in the gut. Whenever we have anything coming out in the skin, anything that's being expressed through the skin, it's our largest organ. It's also the animal's largest organ. So you're going to want to look at your what you're feeding them. Once again, is what is their diet consist of? Dogs and cats is like if it's too much grain, usually.
It's typically related to grain,
Mhm.
because grain turns into sugar in our bodies. We all kind of know that. But not always, because there are lots of proteins. So chicken is one of the number one protein sources in most dog foods, most kibbles, dog and cat foods out there. But the strange thing is, chicken is one of the highest allergens for dogs and cats. So a lot of times they're
Mhm.
going to, have skin issues, because we know that when skin issues show up, it usually is starting from the gut. And we're not going to go, like we've said, too much into nutrition, but it's really important to understand that
That
everything
first.
coming out, everything that you want to throw an oil at, is not always something that should be treated at the beginning with oil.
That being said, while you're looking for the root cause of it and you just want to give some relief, right? There are some
Exactly.
different things that we can, and we'll go into those. We've got, I don't know if we've got recipes, but anyway. And then another thing with the skin. So skin for dogs and cats, but for horses, it's usually
Hooves.
hooves. And that goes back to the sugars in the grasses, depending upon where you're at. And it all goes back to the gut and everything. So, um, diet, like nutrition, we really need to get
It's
right with our nutrition. Like this society is just, it's just kind of bonkers with that. But um, detox, we need to detox. And so here's a story about a horse that was um, this is actually kind of where I got started in my Young Living journey, like actually sharing more, is one of my friends shared their story about their horse that had gotten into something out in the pasture, and it was
Nice.
basically sloughing off its entire hide, right? Like everything was just coming off. And so they were soaking. I saw a picture of it and it was just covered in all of these wet towels. And she was, what do I do? I don't know what to do. It had all four of its feet standing in ice water, and she was just kind of beside herself. She didn't know what was going on with her horse. It had eaten something that was poisonous to it. And immediately I'm like, that horse needs a raindrop. Like, it needs to detox, right? Like, I had no clue what I was doing, but I just messaged her and I said, hey, I think I have something that might be able to make your horse feel better. And it can just help detox and help kind of push whatever is going on. It can just help push through. Um, do you want me to come up? Right? Like, do you want me to just come up and we can try something? And so she's like, yeah. So Kelly and I called Kelly because I just, I just got into a car accident like a couple weeks earlier and I had broken my collarbone and 5 ribs. And so here we are, like, and I had punctured a lung and I'm like, I need somebody to come with me because I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. So I took her along. We all loaded up in the car. And as we were on our way, I said, Kelly, this is what I want to do. This is what lights my fire. This is what I want to do. This is great. So we went up there and gave this horse a raindrop. It was just very fatigued, very lethargic. It wasn't drinking any water. I put some Valor on Kelly's hands, and that horse, I leaned, just leaned right into her, closed its eyes, and it started like groaning, moving back and forth and just groaning. Like, it was the most bizarre, awesome thing that we've ever seen in our entire lives. So then we do the whole raindrop, loves it, enjoys the whole thing. We watch it. Like, when you are utilizing oils with animals, you don't just want to, like I said, put the oils on them and walk away. You want to stay with them and see how they're going to respond to the oils, just like when you get started with oils, you're going to put it on the bottoms of your feet and just see how your body responds to it, right? Same difference is you want to give them the time to respond in front of you so you can be there and put out any fires if you need to. And then we put lemon in the water, and that horse just went right over to that water and
it just sucked it up.
Sucked that stuff right down. So like I said, I was new to this. I was new to sharing everything. I just left all the oils with her and I'm like, here you go. Use this stuff and let's talk in a week. She was pretty much one of my very first enrollees and she's been with us. That just was a game changer for her. And so you just never know, you guys, you never know. Like I said, I was just like, I know that this can help you, right? So you have got to be confident and comfortable enough utilizing these oils and using these products to share them with somebody else, because that changed this woman's life. That horse came out of it quick. It is doing great. And who knows how much more it would have had to go through had we not went up. Like, we just don't know, right? We just don't know. So that's just a quick detox. That is the power of the oils. And that is just being confident, putting it out there, just doing it, right? Just do the things that you know that you can do. Okay. Onward. A salve. Oh, you were going to talk about, like, one of the things is, like, so while we're figuring out the nutrition, what are the different, like, we were going to talk about a salve that you can do for, like, feet. Itchy feet. Dogs, they lick their feet. A lot of people, so one of the main things is like, oh, my dog licks their feet. They itch their belly. They're itching their belly. They're licking their feet all the time. Like, what is something that you can do while you're getting their diet right, that in between, to get them comfortable, so they're not licking open sores and busting open sores and stuff like that?
So in dogs specifically, colloidal silver is the best thing you can do for skin issues. And at
There
least
we
that's
go.
what we've discovered. And all of my professional handler friends that are at dog shows every single weekend have bottles of colloidal silver in their grooming bags for anything that shows up while they're at a show. And what do we have that has colloidal silver? Our mouthwash is basically colloidal silver plus thieves.
Mhm.
So that thieves, if you sprayed it on yourself or put that on yourself, it's usually mild enough to not burn the skin, but to keep a dog or cat from actually licking that skin when you're using it. And I can tell you that also handlers, they get if they hear dogs coughing or they're in like a really dry, dusty environment, it can get into a dog's throat. Um, the first thing they do is spray colloidal silver. So I got, my friends all using the mouthwash. And so the first thing they do now is spray the mouthwash. They just put a little spray bottle on top of the mouthwash bottle and spray that into the dog's throat when they start getting kind of a cough or there's lots of dust. The springtime is notorious for just digging up all kinds of stuff that's out there, and dogs get coughs all the time in the spring. So
Yeah.
that mouthwash with, the thieves in it is amazing for skin issues, for throat stuff. And then you can also do a little salve with lavender, copaiba, frankincense, and either in the animal sense ointment or some coconut oil, depending upon what you have.
You could also probably use the animal sense ointment
By
by
itself.
itself.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to, just take it up a notch, add the oil to it that Kelly was talking about. And so is that all you have to say about the skin issues? Like we talked about nutrition.
I
we
think
talked
for now
about
we're going
the
to talk about the other stuff.
We've got a few other things, a
Yeah.
whole page and a half.
Exactly.
So what's the next thing that this, especially this time of year, right? This time of year, we're coming on to spring.
Mhm.
So what do we hear more about? We hear about bugs, we hear about fleas, we hear about ticks, we hear about flies. Like, what do you do? What can I do? How can I get these creepy crawlies away from me, out of me, worms, parasites, all the things, right? So this one, we're both we both have things on, but I'm gonna let Kelly go first because she's like chomping at the bit here.
I both cringe and get excited when I hear the question of what do you do for fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, slash. Like the reason that dog people get afraid of mosquitoes is because mosquitoes carry the larva that can infect a dog with heartworm. So, what do you do instead of poisoning your dog for every single month for the rest of their life for fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, blah, blah, blah? And there isn't a perfect answer. That's the true answer. There is not a perfect answer because all of these external, internal parasites and insects are so different in every part of the country. So here, specifically where we live in Northeast Iowa, it has one of the highest concentrations of Lyme disease, deer ticks, and wood ticks in the entire country. So not only do we get to live with the highest concentration, we also choose to treat our dogs in a more dogs, cats, horses in a more holistic manner, which means more than once a month.
And looking at the whole picture,
Right.
right? Not just looking at the one little piece that we see, right? So we're looking at the holistic approach. And that's not just saying like, what can I put on my animal,
right,
or to get rid of this or to keep it from touching me? It's about how are you keeping your animal? What is their environment like? Are they in a pile of manure? Are they outside in the tall grass? Are they living mostly inside and they just get to go outside to go potty? Do they live outside? Do they live inside? Do they are you clean or are they dirty, right? Like, where are they at? Are they in a pasture, in a barn, all the different things? So sorry, I interrupted. Go
That's
on.
okay. So like what Kim was saying, what are their environments they're living in? And one thing to know, and write this down, do this research later. What are the life cycles of each of these bugs, parasites, whatever? Know the life cycle of the flea. Know when and how it may affect your animal. What is the life cycle of a tick? When is it actually carrying the disease? What is the life cycle of the heartworm? So we all know that the mosquitoes carry the heartworm. Do you know that in order for your dog to be infected with heartworm, the mosquito has to be carrying the larva at a specific time period? A mosquito has a radius of approximately 2 miles. So it has to bite a dog that is infected with the adult heartworm, carry that infection for approximately 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, the temperature has to be above a certain temperature. I want to say it's like 41, but don't quote me exactly on that. And then it has to bite your dog and incubate within there. So most people, most of us with pets, don't even have the environment that our animal can actually get heartworm in. So it's understanding the life cycle and deciding, is it worth it for me to poison my dog? Sometimes it is. If your dog is, say, at the kennel, we have one side of our kennel, 40 dogs in training. So we have 40 dogs in one area that are outside and they go to hunt tests, they go to retriever trials, they're around other dogs that we don't always know what's happening with those other dogs. With those dogs, it may be important to do something to prevent heartworm. So again, not a vet, we're not diagnosing, we're not treating, we're just trying to give you guys some information that you can use to make your own decisions with. So para-free for large breed dogs, para-free is an amazing choice instead of some of the poisons that are on the market today. It's more for internal parasites than external, but oftentimes the oils that are in the para-free will repel, the fleas and the ticks from even wanting to be around your dog. The insect repellent is amazing. Even here in this super infested area that we live in Northeast Iowa, you do have to apply it regularly. So I'm walking and training my dogs in tall grasses all the time. Right now, we're at the start of tick season. I still do a complete test for ticks every single night. Another thing is to understand Lyme disease as a whole. The tick has to be embedded for 48 hours before it can even contract the Lyme disease. So if you're doing a check once a day and pulling out ticks as you find them,
pay attention. Yeah.
Pay attention. It's the little things that we can do as pet owners that can really make a difference in the lives of our pets. Is it as easy as squirting on one vial of poison once a month? No. It's definitely a lot more, intense for us, but it's worth it to my pets. And everybody gets to decide whether it's worth it for their own.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at the questions as Kelly's talking. And so I'm just going to go into the questions for just a second, and then I will talk about horses and pastures and kind of working with the parasites on that end. And by no means am I an expert. And if you have a better way of doing it that works for you, just stick with what you're doing. I am just personally sharing what I do and what works for me with my my animals that are on pasture. So I'm looking at is parafree good for sheep also? You could probably figure out a way to get
If you can
parafree
pill them.
if you can pill them, like what Kelly, and that's something that you need to say too, is don't put it in a pill box or whatever they're called for your dogs, because if they bite into that parafree, they will spit it out and you will not be able to touch their mouth for a very, very long time. So you're going to want to definitely be able to pill your dog, which means you have to open that sucker's mouth up and stick that thing right down in their throat, close them, and then blow in their nose, right? I don't know how I do it.
Usually you just have to do this.
Yeah, but anyway, as far as for sheep, so if you can do that, if you can literally open up, and I don't know how many sheep you have, okay, and I'm going to go into that, because if you have just a couple sheep and you can open up their mouth and stick that parafree right down, you know, down their throat, or there's another thing that you can do. You could actually uh, I'm trying to think of the word. Enema. I'm like, I don't want to say put it up their butthole, but it's basically what it is. But you can use it as an enema. So with the parafree for like a sheep or a horse or anything like that, you could use it as an enema. And that's actually the way that if I understand correctly and what I've read, and I don't remember what book it was in, I want to say it was Inner Transformations, but Gary actually designed parafree to be an enema, first of all, because that's the closest place to where the parasites are in your body. So you can use the parafree as a suppository. Thank you. That's good. Thank you. And that maybe you're the one that did a video on it one time. Anyway, so yes, you can use it as a suppository. Or another thing that I really like to do is if you can figure out a way to manage your pasture so that you're rotating pastures in, like what Kelly said, the life cycle of the parasite. So you're not putting your animals on, let's just say you have, it doesn't matter what size pasture. You split your pasture up into six even sized spots, right? And so you can move those animals from one spot to another spot like every 3 days or something, and they're not in the or every 5 days, whatever it might be. You're just going to have to figure out with your own land and your own property so that they're never on the same spot for 30 days, right? So that you can do a rotation and that they're never on the same spot for 30 days, because that's you're going to kill everything, right? Like nothing's going to be alive. So everything's going to have a time to be baked in the sun, and it's not going to be able to attach itself to a host. But you also, it's not like you can have two pastures, right? It's not like you can have one for 15 days and another for 15 days and expect it to work. It's only for like, you can be on like for 2 or 3 days, and then you have to move them, and then you have to move them, so that those pastures get a long break, and they also are not eating around their own feces where the parasites are going to go to. Another thing is you can use apple cider vinegar. I've got 25 horses. I'm not going to be shooting apple cider vinegar down their throats every day. So that doesn't work for me. What works for me is, the parafree suppository is fabulous idea, and I've just never thought of it nor done it before, but I'm definitely going to be maybe checking into that a little bit more, to at least doing it one time to see, and then doing my fecal count just to see how they respond to it and everything like that. So that was that's the sheep question. Now I lost everything else because we went on
a little tangent.
Somebody called it a booty bomb. They're really over there.
So
Lyme's is spread, not just ticks.
Hold on.
How do you
So
administer
outside of the parafree, if you're not working with large animals, large breed dogs, you can get smaller capsules and fill them with digize, or put a little roller bottle on the Paragize
Yeah.
It's the Animal Sense oil, Paragize, and rub it on the cat's belly. That's what I use for my cats. Or just a little Digize in a capsule for smaller breed dogs that you think the para-free might be a little bit intense for or too big of a capsule for. So those are some other options for, internal parasites, sometimes external parasites. I think, Kim, I saw a question about
Biting
ticks
gnat.
and stuff, and that I personally use the insect repellent, and I'm putting it on every single time we're going outside, which for me is every day.
Yep.
Concentrating more on their legs and their belly because, the ticks are in the tall grasses, and that's usually where they're attaching to my dogs at.
Yep.
But then I also pet them on their backs. I use it on my cats maybe once every 4 to 7 days, just depending what they're doing. All of my cats are outdoor cats. And then the raindrop is another great option because this not only detoxes your dog, cat, horse, animal, it also is making them less attractive to the bugs because
Repulsive.
they really don't like those really hot oils, those very herbaceous oils.
Right. Somebody also asked about the biting gnats. Once again, insect repellent, insect repellent across the board. Our insect repellent is amazing. Once again, you do have to apply it more often, especially if you're out on a ride and your horse is getting sweaty. You're going to have to just apply that more often. One thing that I find is if the biting gnats, what I find is that with my horses, they really attack the belly, right in the belly, right at the navel area. And so what I use for if there's broken skin down there, or if they're just kind of hanging out there, is I'll just use Animal Sense ointment, and I just put a flick right down the center of their belly, and it's great. That stuff works amazing. The thing about it is it's so sticky that if any of the little critters do get on it, they just stick. They can't get out. They're almost sludged. So that was a good question. We're getting a little bit off track now because I'm getting over by the questions. But I also think that it's good because you guys do have, this is what we're here for, to answer your questions and to help you out with your animals. So, so I think that's really good that we are going to the questions.
I did see
para-free people are asking, forget. If you guys are not using para-free, we're not even just talking about your animals. With all of the stuff that's going on in the world today, with all this crazy nonsense and everything, I have been taking para-free all the time, because it's just that good, right? So anyway, onwards and upwards.
Should we move on to specific species?
Yeah.
We have 10 minutes.
Yeah, holy cow. Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about specific species, and then we're going to go into our top 6 products. So horses, when in doubt, raindrop it out, right? If you have horses, this is the thing. Raindrop is if I have a question about anything, I'm I don't know what's going on, whether it is an emotional thing or a physical thing. I'm just getting the raindrop oils out, and I'm just going out there, and that is just my first line of defense, is I'm just raindropping it, right? If I don't know what's going on. And here's the thing is you can use the raindrop idea with, say you have a horse that you're just bringing home and they're a little bit anxious and they're a little bit high strung and you just want to kind of calm them down, right? Instead of using, oregano and thyme and basil and wintergreen, maybe you can use, the feelings kit, right? Maybe you can use peace and calming and stress away and, utilize these other oils in a raindrop fashion. But that's something that has been really beneficial to me, is I'm just always with the raindrop idea, right? Is get the oils on them, get the oils on them. That's what one.
Do you want to talk a little bit about, if they've never done a raindrop, what they might expect with seeing the raised bumps? Because that's not necessarily a bad thing, that if they've not done a raindrop on a horse, what to expect.
Okay. So the oils are hot, and just like on your back, you might see some redness or whatever. Well, horses, they're covered in fur. So you're not going to see redness so much. You might see some raised patches. That's just their body um, responding. That's just the way that their body is responding. And it's just like the red skin on you. So when you see those raised patches, use more dilution, right? Use more of your V6, get more V6 out. You don't need a whole bottle. Just a little bit goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way. So dilute more. Always with animals, you're going to want to dilute. That's like your saving grace is diluting with animals. And then we talked about the oils in the water already. So I already told that story. Talked about the thieves cleaner, introducing new members. I kind of just talked about that with if you're introducing new members and you have anxious or you're just going to want to use your calming oils. Peace and calming is a great one. I could tell a story, but I want to get through the whole things because stories take a long time sometimes. And if at the end, we might tell more stories. Horses are more emotional than I think any other, like they're so sensitive.
100% agree.
So utilizing your emotional oils, not only just around the horse, but even on yourself when you're around horses. Maybe you're a little bit anxious or something that day. You have got to get yourself into a place of homeostasis and balance. So utilizing those emotional oils around your horses is a big thing. Diffuser, like diffusing around your horses if you have them in a barn. I went to a sale barn. I'm telling the story. I'm just we're not going to go over. We'll get this. So I was in a sale barn. The horses were just crazy, anxious. We were there with our Young Living booth, and these two horses came through, and the guy was really uncomfortable handling them. He had them for like, I don't know, 10 years, and he was getting rid of them, and they were just prancing and dancing. And he's like, they've never been like this before. I don't know what to do. I just put peace and calming up on their pole. They calmed down in like 60 seconds. It was nothing. It was like just like that. It's crazy how fast they work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, using it with Ninja Red. Horses love Ninja Red. Just
Love it.
I literally take out a syringe with a jar of Ninja Red, and I can just, and they will come almost line up. They love Ninja Red. You might have to get them used to it a little bit because it's a new thing. So you might have to feed it to them in some grain first, but after a while, after they know what it is, if you need it for anything, just for supporting their overall immune system, use that Ninja Red. So dogs.
Okay, we're going to dogs. I talked a little bit about the products that we use in the kennel, that we do all thieves. We do thieves as our cleaner. We do thieves as our laundry. We do it for our dishes. And when I say it's our cleaner, we don't use bleach. Like most kennels that you go into use bleach for disinfecting. We do not. We don't use bleach outside in the yards. Everything is thieves. And yeah, our order is a little high because we buy the big bottles of it. But for us, it's the peace of mind knowing that we're not doing anything to harm the dogs that are in our care while we have them. So, and a bonus to that is when the animals go home, we get more people that comment about how great their animals smell when they come home from the kennel, which is typically the opposite of what happens when, you know, your dog goes to a kennel and they're out in stinky runs with other people's dogs and you don't know what's happening with them. So it's always a really good feeling to know that people think their dogs smell great when they come home just because of the cleaning products that we're using within the kennel. Teeth, Dentarome Plus toothpaste. We use this for all of our teeth care in the groom room. And remember, Dentarome Plus right now is the only toothpaste we have that does not have xylitol in it. So don't go thinking that you can be using the whitening or anything else. And next time Young Living thinks that they want to get rid of a toothpaste and Dentarome Plus comes up on that, say something to them because we use it for our animals, and it's the only thing we can use for our animals. So Dentarome Plus for their teeth is really good at just like cleaning it up, getting a little, you have to really scrub to get the plaque off, but it works amazing. Um, Personally, so we talked a little bit about supplementation. I supplement my dogs because I know that if I'm feeding them kibble, so my dogs get combinations of kibble and raw and cooked, and they all are on different things. It's crazy. But I also supplement, and I'm also using Ninja Red because we know of the vitamin and nutrient value in such a small amount that it doesn't take a lot, especially those of you that have small dogs and cats. I mean, we're talking, milliliters, very small amounts. Sulfurzyme is another one that I swear by for all of my dogs. Just open the capsule in their food whenever you're feeding. And again, that's going to be very different based on their weight. One thing that I did want to touch on, did I talk about that
Cats.
earlier?
We didn't talk about cats really.
Training. So other than like bugs,
Yeah, you did.
the next,
You did talk about it
Okay.
at the very beginning.
okay. So we're just going to kind of run through this real quick. And if we have time for stories, we'll get into those later.
We won't. 3 minutes.
So with cats, the biggest things, we've kind of talked a little bit about diffusing. I use baking soda and put oils in it. So I get like a quart jar, fill it with baking soda. I probably do about 8 to 12 drops of oils in that, leave it at least overnight. And then I sprinkle that on their litter boxes. It just kind of helps to brighten the smell in the room of the litter boxes, as well as absorb the odor with the baking soda. It's the litter box sprinkle. Ears. So the ears of cats have a tendency to get really gross. Diluted purification is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, and chickens. So do you have anything else to say about cats really quick?
The best way of getting oils on cats is petting. To pet them with them instead of trying to drip them on.
And diffusing.
So just put them in your hand, like a drop in your hand is plenty for a cat, and then just pet them with it.
Yeah. Really mild oils, lavender and stuff. So chickens, feather mist, lavender, frankincense, copa, eba. Those are the only oils that I like. Well, purification, feather mist, just put a few drops into a 4-ounce spray bottle and you can just spray all over everything. I use that. And then you can also put it, I'm looking over here, so I should be looking there. So you can also put it in their water, like 1 drop per quart of water. And I've used oregano vitality and thieves vitality in their water. It will just keep them healthy and well and all the things. Also Digize. I have also used Digize vitality in their water also. So finishing up, we just want to talk about our top 6 products. Number 1 being Thieves Cleaner. Number 2 is a diffuser and oils. The top oils are lavender, stress away, and frankincense.
Number 3, we're going to throw Digize in there because you can use that for every animal and every size. Number 4, the insect repellent. 100% get you that for your animals.
Yes. Number 5, Ningxia Red. And number 6 is like the raindrop kit, which is more than one, but it is one. And then a bonus is the animal sense ointment. The only reason that one didn't go into the top 6 is because I liked the old formulation better than the new formulation.
And honestly, I'm still using the old one because I stocked up.
Thank you so much for having us on here. You guys are amazing. Thank you for just all the things. The Dog and Pony Show was a blast, a hit.